My bad, my bad. It is 6:01, so.
All right, here we go. We are live and we are in the green room with Triple J, which is Jevon McGlory, Jamie Brewer, and myself, Jeff Noose. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me get all this junk out of the way.
Why are you so grainy, dude?
Fellas, how's things been for the two of you?
Great, man. How you doing, Mr. Brewer?
I'm great. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good, man. You know what, man? I've been good, man. Going to school.
I'm good.
Back in school again, so taking a lot of classes on Zoom. And then like I told you guys, building that course development or developing the course, the whole music thing, still doing that. Doing a lot of research in stocks and shit. Doing a lot of research on YouTube with that. And shit, trying to stay in the house, man.
Good.
Jamie,
What's that?
How are you doing?
Excellent. I can't complain about anything except for lots of work. It's
not,
that's a gift.
Worse things have happened, right?
Yes. So Corona has had the reverse effect on me.
Because you're doing UPS?
Amazon.
Oh, Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, you both know what I've been doing with my time, and I've been sitting in my room here talking to people 2-3 times a day just to keep myself from going insane. So
that's good,
and that's all right.
It's all right. So I put the phone number up right now, Jevon. If anybody's tuned in to us, they see my number. And we can start
right now.
415-271-2119. Now I got a couple of things, Jamie. Before you jumped on here, I was talking to Jevon, and he goes, dude, I'm live on my Instagram right now." I was talking. And anyway, so the first thing I want to just throw out there, what the hell was this shit in Wisconsin with them making everybody vote yesterday? What the hell? I just on a rant on that. Then the other thing that we, Jevon and I brought up, and I think you posted something about this on your Facebook, Jamie, about how the coronavirus is targeting people of color and lower income families, and the divide in the country is being proven out through the who's getting infected by the disease. So there's a couple of issues that we can throw out there, and then the other thing that we talked about a little bit on Sunday was about churches still saying that they want their congregation and their people to come to church because that's what they need to do, and all of that stuff has made me just fucking angry, actually.
Yeah.
I sit and I've had to personally stay off of my news feed and not watch the news other than just a snippet, just to find out, just to kind of stay informed a little bit. But I try to avoid it because it makes me dark and it makes me angry, and it's not good for me personally. So I just kind of throwing that out for you two guys. there's a couple of things that you can jump in on that for a topic.
What was the story last week? The story last week was the old white guys were saying we need to go to work anyway. We need to go to work regardless, right? All the Republicans
Right.
are saying we need to go to work regardless. So it's the same thing this week. It's just in a different form. It's money over people. We don't give a fuck. Some of y'all gonna die. We
Yeah.
need to keep this money coming in. We give a fuck. That's what it is, guys.
Yeah.
It's not even shocking anymore.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that sort of bothers me is to us, where the president, for example, can get up and talk, just spew out all this shit.
I know.
And,
It's
and
amazing.
spew it out. And to us, we can sit there and filter it and go, that's really just a bunch of shit. And he gets away with it, and people believe him. And
It's
this,
amazing.
what's the drug that he told people they should do?
Chloroquine.
Yeah, man. And then to find out if the news reporting is correct, that he actually owns a stake in the company.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
but somehow that shit brushed right off of him. Somehow
Wow.
it brushes right off of him. Like no
right.
matter what, he dances out of everything.
Yeah. So and then here's the thing that we were talking about a little bit ahead of time, and then I know you guys are thinking, and the stuff is going, but Jevon was, he wanted Bernie, and was kind of bummed because he doesn't think Biden can beat Trump. But my perception was that people are going to vote with their heart for Joe Biden, and it has nothing to do whether he's capable of running the country, but it has everything to do with the relationship that he had with Barack Obama, and the connection the two of them had as people, and that is going to do more for him to win an election than his capability of actually governing the country. Because same reason why Trump won, no people voted for him, had nothing to do whether he was actually capable of running the country or being a president, but people
Right.
Mhm.
voted with something that they saw in him. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with Biden. It has nothing to do really with his policy, but when uh, when I saw, and I was telling Jevon, my perception is when I saw Barack Obama give Joe Biden the Medal of Honor, Presidential Medal of Honor, and the way the two of them hugged and I saw the emotional connection and relationship they had,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that's what's drawing people to him
Okay.
personally, because that's the complete opposite of what we have in the White House now. So
That's what Jeff
Mhm.
said. For me, I was bummed because Bernie, I felt like was gonna save our situation. I call Joe Biden fumble jack because he can't get his sentence out without fucking it up, unfortunately. But at this point, that's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna have to vote for, right?
there is nobody else.
Right.
Nope.
So it's like you got to go with that guy, the fumbling guy, who's like, "Where are
Yeah.
we at again, Joe? Don't ask Joe where we're at, okay? Don't."
It's almost like it's coming from a script and not from the heart.
Can't
You
believe
know,
it.
it's like, wait a minute, why aren't you just saying what you mean to say? Then you wouldn't fumble over it. I
That's a
just
good
don't
point. That's a good point.
like, why are you repeating what you fumbled over? I don't know.
You know.
It just doesn't.
So now
Um,
that has to happen. You know, I'm trying to stay positive, trying to stay optimistic. I was telling Jeff, I see a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, I'm seeing us come back together like maybe around the end of summer. Is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping by
mhm.
then the virus is kind of washed through and we've come up with a solution, a preventative way. But I was telling Jeff, is it a pill that we take and then a year later we all become zombies? Whoever took the pill, we don't know about that. Stay tuned.
We don't know.
Right?
That's I think that's the safest thing to say.
Yeah, yeah. That's all you can say, right? But
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay positive. I'm trying to stay optimistic. I feel like we
Yeah.
will we will come back at some point. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's going to be around the end of summer.
Well, from financial standpoint, the government is going to have to do something a little bit more dramatic than what they're doing right now. Because right now, even at I've applied for a couple of things, and I might get $1,000 here or there, but I'm telling you, I can only hold on for another 6 weeks at best, and that's just paying for food and none of my bills.
Yeah, but
And
that's just today, bro. That's just today, bro.
that's
And
what
so
I'm
what you're not understanding is the meat is inheriting the earth. Like we're used to living like this. We're used to living like, okay, I got enough for today and that's it. But then tomorrow, another blessing always comes.
well,
Come on now.
but this is
Come
my
on, Jamie.
Jamie's being really what,
The blessings gonna
What?
continue to flow as long as you keep your intentions pure. You know, your purpose is real, and God's gonna continue to provide for you,
okay.
be it through the government or not.
If I cannot find a way to make an income until August, and uh I've got about $800, how am I going to stretch that until August? And if the government does give me a $1,200 check, if that somehow shows up remarkably, by July, it'll be too late. But I'm just using myself as an example. I mean,
Right,
there's lots of people that are sitting there thinking the same thing.
right. And my thing is by walking by faith and not by sight, right? Like we talked about. I'm not a big Bible guy, but we talked about the faith. And right now is when people are really gonna have to start digging into their faith.
Well, but we talked a little bit about that too, of why people go to church and why they jump in there and go like, God save me, God save me, God to help me, God to help me. Well, yes, but that means that there's going to need to be some sort of action on my part.
Absolutely.
So what kind of action is that going to be if I need to stay in my house? Am I going to need to just is it just going to be me working on me and becoming more positive through this?
Aligned action, like
And,
we spoke about before, getting aligned and then acting.
okay,
Okay.
Jamie, you're being really quiet.
I'm just observing, but
I'm
I'm
just
I'm 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 ready and rearing to go.
okay. Well,
Um,
I'm just throwing these out there because what I'm trying to present is the way a whole lot of people are sitting in their house thinking right now.
Right.
Right?
mhm.
I'm sitting here thinking the way almost everybody I know is sitting there thinking that may not. What about the people that don't have a faith or don't have a understanding? But the people that are just sitting there going, I don't have any money today to feed my child.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Mhm.
And this is what I'm
Right.
talking about.
So
We're
anyway,
used to living like that.
hmm, okay,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Jeff. When you dealing with black people, uh, if I could speak for us for a second, we're used to survival. We're used to living day to day.
Literally.
There's kind of a conditioning that we you don't really know. I can speak for myself. Being raised um, in a family environment where we didn't have much. We probably ran out of food the last 10 days of the month. It was minimal amount of food, but we made it work some kind of way. And here's the thing: when you accept that that's temporary, then that allows you to live on past that temporary state, because based on efforts, based on what any action you've taken, that things are going to change for the better
Amen.
at some point.
Amen.
So I learned to live that way all my life. So even when times got really like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, I had to resort to what the Bible talks about. Well, what the Lord's Prayer is about, which people keep missing, which is give us this day,
This day.
not this year, not the next 10 years, not next month. Give us this day our our daily bread. That humbles you,
Amen.
and it takes a lot of stress away from you. Um, if you have to borrow, if you have to do a thing, a lot of the things the ego didn't allow us to do, don't allow you to do.
Amen.
The ego says you can't afford to let so and so know you don't have any money right now because it'll make you look a certain way. Well, how does that feel in your belly? You know, how is it paying that bill? How's it providing for your kid? You have to get to the place where your ego is deflated and your humanity is inflated. So you've got to say, you know what? I need to do whatever I need to do. And if that means to call somebody who may think less of me because of this, then I just need to do that. You know?
Action.
So, you know, faith without works is dead. So you can't just say, I believe things are going to get better without doing something.
But
Uh,
Jamie just used an example where he made an action based out of being humble, which is an alignment. You humble yourself, and then he made the call. You know, that was just an example. But that
yes,
was a great
yes,
example.
yes. Just like you call to get people on the show, you know, these times right here um, are for when you need to call and ask for help. And this is what we're not used to doing. This is why humanity, this is a make or break us time.
True.
You know,
True.
when we really need to reach out to friends and loved ones, family, people who, you know, it's time to squash all the past disagreements and, you know, upsets, and look at them for what they really are. Dig through them and say, you know what, I know why that person really did that thing, or I believe that person's really a good person, or, you know, maybe they didn't really mean that. And then we need to come together and reach out just from a human perspective and say, you know what, somebody might be suffering that I know. Let me make some calls, you know,
Yeah.
let me reach out to
Yeah.
somebody.
And I like what you said when you said not even based off of any action of your own. And
Yes.
that ties in with the same conversation about the ego.
Yeah.
If you're still trying to hang on to your ego at this point, it's gonna be really tough for you. It's gonna be really tough for you. You know?
It really is, you know,
Yeah.
you know, making that car payment, you know, Jeff, you know, the lifestyle, especially to be a musician in the Bay, everybody pretends to be something they're, well, not just the Bay, but in this industry, a
Right.
lot of them are pretending to be something that they're not.
Right. That's like your calling card. That's like you have to do that.
Man, I remember when I first moved to LA, everybody had a business card that
Yeah, yeah,
made
yeah.
them look like they was making moves.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and, and really what they was doing is just moving, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
They was just, moving from one apartment or one floor to the next, look, once it comes to, yeah, man, I'll come by the studio, man. And you go by this, their mom's garage or something, and
How
it's
about
like, are you serious?
how about this one? Everybody calls every gig they do a show. Yeah, I got this show, man. I'm doing
Yes.
at the Pizza Hut down the street.
Yes.
All right.
I got
Anyway.
And
shows, man. I got 6 shows, and I'm like, cool, a show.
yeah.
Anyway.
And yeah,
Yeah.
the beer hall.
Good point.
Yes. But
That
now
is
it's getting to the
now,
point
man.
daily, Jeff, where musicians, artists really need to come together because this is becoming a very serious thing. This is becoming a thing where you look in your closet and you say, I have one less box of rice. I only have a few cans of beans. I only have, you know, I mean, if you don't accept it for what it is, you could lose your mind. And just to share with you a couple of things that I know recently is that 3 close acquaintances, musicians who were married, are no longer due to what has happened.
Whoa.
That's
They're no
another
longer
thing
married.
people aren't talking.
Oh, I heard
Yeah,
domestic
the
violence
stress,
cases have shot up 40%.
that too. The stress has been so much, and they've lost all their work. And as a result of that, their significant other said, you know what, this is just too hard.
Mm.
And for whatever reason, they blow up, and now they're out living with someone else other than their spouse. And this is another thing.
That's something else that I think that in this time and situation, a lot of relationships are going to be tested dramatically, because people who are used to only being together half of the day are now all
Yes.
needing to be with each other. And we talked a little bit about this on Sunday about all the neighbors, and they might have tuned in to me saying about how loud they are, because they've been really quiet since Sunday.
Yes.
But
So your podcast numbers
right.
False.
But I always allow them to do that. Every now and then I'll go out and say, hey, you guys are being a little noisy, but I give them their due. They're in their yard, but now that when everybody's home, we have to learn to live together in a way that we're readjusting as families and as neighbors, because everybody
Okay.
all the time now.
Okay, so is that more consideration?
Yeah. Well,
there you go. So that's more love. So that's closer to the solution.
Solution is what thing to talk about.
Okay, that's good.
Well, some of the things I'm witnessing are that these relationships in particular, where road musicians were gone most of the time, and what they're finding out is that their relationship functioned better when they were gone.
Interesting.
Because it freed up their spouse or partner to have more time to do what they do. And now that they are not doing what they're doing, they're infringing upon the time of the other one. And they, at some point, somebody is saying, you know what, I'm just not I'm not cut out for this. That's 3. That's 3.
Jesus.
And so, then we got that's a whole nother subject, is that, you really don't know better or for worse until you experience better or for worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, they're experiencing worse right now. And they didn't make it.
Wow.
One thing.
Well, yeah, it's 50-50. So
when you're on the road, and just from when I did that little bit with Tower, and it reminded me of when I was younger and on the road. You're confined with that, and you sort of your world shrinks to the road gig, and your personal skills with family just goes out the window, and you deal with things in a different way. And all of a sudden, when you go back home, you have to have these personal loving relationships that you've never worked on. So anything that you've never worked on, all of a sudden you have to work on when you're with them.
Yeah, you create a disconnection when you go on the road.
Right.
And then you reconnect when you come back. Disconnect, reconnect, disconnect, reconnect. It's like, what you do here, when somebody goes down in the feed, you got to reconnect from where you left off. So it breaks up the continuity of that thing. And musicians, we're used to it. We're in love with what we do. We don't mind that up and down. We expect that up and down roller coaster of, going out and coming in, going out, coming in. But somebody who is, a lot of us, don't have somebody who is in the music business as well. They're usually more of a consistent pattern, day 9 to 5 thing. So it's a different world for them. A lot of them don't even understand why you do it.
Right.
Don't have somebody who's in the music business as well. They're using more of a consistent path. So,
well, you know what? You know what? I think that more ties into what Jeff was saying before you, Jamie, you got in on the conversation where he was saying a lot of people have been falling
Right.
off now that he's been speaking his truth about religion and politics. A lot of his Midwest family and friends have been falling off, haven't been tuning in. And when it comes to relationships, now you're seeing the real person that you're married to, and
yeah,
you
yeah,
know you're realigning. We're all hitting that reset button, and we're all
yes,
realigning. And like attracts like. And
yes,
you know, when you were married and everything was popping, you were vibrating at a different level.
yes,
Now we're all vibrating at a different frequency. So you're gonna start to
yeah.
attract different people, different things, you know?
Well, you're going to start to see who you're with
Yeah, you
for
know, and
who they
so many
really
not
are
just
now
friends,
too,
family and
without
friends,
any
you know.
place.
Like you some people are falling off, Jeff, but then some people are going to gather more because now you're gonna start to
Yeah,
attract different people based off of the frequency you're emitting.
yeah, yeah.
Well, something that I just thought about, and because this, my neighbor texted me and said, "How you holding up?" And I said, "It's weird." And he goes, "Yeah, it's weird for me too." So what we're talking about in with musicians and what we're going through now, all of a sudden, uh, our livelihood is gone, and we're having to be around our families. Maybe we're not used to being around, but
Uh-huh.
but expand that a little bit further out. The entire country is going through that. So not only
Yeah.
are we having to, there are families that have 9 to 5 jobs where husband and
Hmm.
wife are both working. Now all of a sudden they have to be together all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, Jeff, what this is like, because it continues to amaze me what is happening now. It's the proverbial, like I said when I was, I think when you and David Alt were talking, I feel like it's the universe's way of saying, slow down.
mm,
Everybody has been, I mean, if you ever notice, try this sometime. If you're driving out and you're on your way somewhere, you're either ahead in your thoughts or you're behind in your past memories.
Usually I'm behind.
So we really never get to appreciate the moment.
Yes.
We never get to see what's the joy in the moment. And so because we live either in the past or the present, we lose a connection with ourselves.
mm,
And that's what I
We,
mean with
we
the alignment.
yes,
Realign with the moment. Okay. And
exactly.
that's where God speaks. Come on now. Can I get an
Yeah.
amen?
okay. So there have been a few people that have texted some things, and I just want to say for anybody listening, whenever I try to respond to a text, I can't necessarily do that. I can read them out loud, but if you actually want to make a comment or ask a question or talk to Jamie or Jevon, you can actually call. The number is up on the screen, but Jamie, Seth, John's brother, says, "Hey, big leg guy, he's killing me." Um, I'm just saying.
Come on, Seth.
And then Kimberly,
Just for the record, Seth is killing me too.
well, yeah, that goes without saying because he's John's brother. Um,
Yeah, gee.
so what we need to do though is we need to get one of Javon's friends to text and give Javon some shit.
Well, I told Derek to
Yeah.
call. So Derek Harris is supposed to be calling.
So Kimberly Gold actually texted something about Music Cares, which I actually had applied for, and I know some other people had. If you can apply for it,
Good.
and it's like $1,000, and I haven't got
Awesome.
on from them yet. Who's doing that? Who?
My bad.
Javon's over there. He's yeah. So
My bad.
He's working it.
yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out that it's hard. I can see that the texts come in. I don't always pay attention. And whenever I try to
Hmm.
respond to them, I can't really respond to them. So hopefully if somebody
Right.
has a question for you guys, they'll call in. But there are a number of places that we can apply for and get money. Um,
Okay. This
some
is
of
good.
them you kind of have to fill out a lot. You got to come up with a lot of information. One place that I was going to apply for today, they want see canceled contracts, and I don't have canceled contracts because what I do in Los Angeles is I work on invoice only, and a lot of little private gigs that I'm making six, $700, $800 for people
Yeah.
homes, they just Venmo me. There's no
Oh,
record.
you're so done.
I
You're
know,
so done.
and
You're so dead.
I, I'm sitting there like I have no record of all this stuff.
Yeah,
There's your lesson.
you have those Venmo
There's a
payments,
lesson.
those
I could,
those Cash App payments.
I could actually maybe
You
print
know,
that out and use that as,
now's the time to be
Yeah,
innovative.
you got to do it.
yeah,
That's this is what it's teaching us.
you know,
All that stuff.
as much as I'd sort of liked living off the grid, so to speak, with how I'd been doing my business
Hmm.
and being able to do those gigs and go do little house
Yeah,
parties and take a few speakers and make 500-600 bucks and hang
yeah.
it's kind of haunts me because it doesn't show anything in terms of getting a loan or
Hello.
all that sort of
And
thing.
this is happening to thousands of musicians.
Exactly, and there's
I know only a handful out of the hundreds of musicians I know were prepared for if everything went away.
right
So did you go into
Here.
SBA.gov?
doesn't work. And
Because you
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you
why?
they for all of the documentation that I need to supply, I
Yeah.
don't have, nor does it show any history that they want to see in order to make me qualify for.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Javon's really killing me right now.
All right. All right. I'll stop.
He's showing off the fact that he has hair.
No, I'm trying.
It's
Look,
really killing me
you
right now.
can't. I decided to
I
go.
mean, there comes a time in your life when hair just decides not to grow on your head and then everywhere else. It's like, what the fuck?
All right.
Really? Under my elbow? What are you doing there?
I'm done for the night. I'm not gonna touch my hair anymore. But
Yeah, right. Watch. Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry. Go
but did you
ahead.
have did you have a LLC,
I do.
or you
I'm a
were just
Yep.
independent contract?
There's another lesson.
right.
Independent contract, right? So
Well,
then that's the
not
self-employed.
contractor. I am
Not that
I
either.
am a sole proprietor. And here's the other thing that we need to also start getting in California with this AB5 rule is this our perception of what an independent contractor is no longer. And it never
Yeah.
really has been according to the Employment Development Department, honestly. The minute so Jevon, I think that Bob Gale sends you a check. You're on payroll with them. Is that correct?
I'm still an independent contractor. That's what they say
Well, here's the catch that
for tax purposes.
people are going to learn this. And when I had, back when Jamie was in my band and we were working a lot, and all the musicians would come to me and say, we're independent contractors at 1099 them. My tax guy at the time said, technically speaking, the if the employment development department wanted to come after me for workers comp, for example, that they can prove that they are not 1099 employees, and this is why. I would tell them when to show up, I would tell them what to wear, and when to start and when to stop. They immediately became my employees, and they needed to be on. I needed to pay workers comp and social security and all that stuff. So in order to avoid that, I had to put a handful of people that were making the most yearly income on employees. And if I ever got audited or they ever came to me, I could then say, I'm working on getting everybody and blah, blah, blah. So the AB5 rule has always kind of been in play a little bit. It's just that when you're just making a few $1,000s here or there, technically speaking, they don't bother with you. It only happens when you're at $500,000 or $1 million gross receipts, like a big
Yeah.
entertainment company could be. So
Yeah.
I'm just, so if Jamie remembers, because I had to put a bunch of guys on
I
payroll.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was just to protect myself, even though we all were under the impression that we were calling ourselves independent contractors, but that was just a generic term we decided we would call ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't.
So guys,
Yeah.
Jeff is really killing me right now. So Jeff, this is what I think you should do.
Okay.
Because the church is the storehouse. I think you should go to the local churches and say, I understand you collect tithes, and I fit under one of the requirements for the people who you should give the tithes to. So I need X, Y, and Z, and I'm sure you have it because you collect tithes every week. So put them to the test. Go to a church or churches and say you need help.
Really?
Yeah, right.
And
It's never gonna work.
Why not, Jevon?
These churches don't give a fuck.
But it's the storehouse.
they're going to come on. They're going to
There is meat in my father's house, right? Not.
they're going to say, I've
Oh
never.
yeah, that's in my Mercedes. That's my Mercedes payment.
Okay.
This is the time, guys.
Yeah.
We're looking for some real solutions, guys. That is not one. These churches don't give a goddamn.
Really?
Come on. Okay.
All these years of tithing
Yeah.
and the church empty. What the fuck?
I think that it might work if you were a member of a certain church, because the first thing they will ask you is, have you been attending church here?
Right.
And I would say no.
Fuck you. How about that?
And then they start
Hey,
asking, what?
what about this, Jeff? Have you noticed that Joel and TD Jakes have went into hiding?
Well, Joel's gonna do a Easter session online, and he's gonna have Mariah Carey and Kanye West.
No.
Really, Joel?
Yeah.
Joel,
Easter thing.
east these. How about that?
Yeah.
Because
So he is doing that.
here, that is absolutely asinine. I mean, give me a friggin' break. This is what drives me batty. This is driving me batty. This is the time when those people need to give back to the community. Those millions of dollars, they need to be sending out checks to members. They need to be providing food banks. They need to be providing shelter, payments, whatever the congregation needed, because they have been supporting them all these years. It's
Okay.
time for them.
Okay. So then what if that number totally depletes the pastor's reserves? Does he
Oh, good,
completely broke?
good,
Okay.
good. Then what we do is you go to the next pastor and the next and the next. They can all get together. And
Well,
why do you need your jet right now?
that's the solution for all the pastors.
Why do you need your jet?
For the pastors to come together with their resources, and
They
then
can't do it
spread, because
Well, that's the whole thing.
yeah.
Go ahead, Javon. That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing, you know.
Coming together, not
Right.
alone, coming together. What's it gonna cost you? An Armani suit? I mean, what's it gonna cost you?
I mean,
You
that
know,
that
what
just
are your
that requires a whole infrastructure. Okay. And what I mean by that
dude,
is all these pastors putting in money and then
Jevon,
how it's distributed, you know.
Jevon,
Yeah.
Jevon? They just need to do it. Make a choice. Make a choice.
You know,
That's it.
you know what
I
I
think
hear?
each
I
person
hear
got
all those pastors doing. I hear all those pastors saying what Jevon is saying. Oh, we don't have the infrastructure. uh, We can't really give it to anybody. We don't know who they are. Uh,
right.
that's
Because
gonna
then does it go to Betty or does it go to Benny? Like does it go to and so then the numbers,
Really, guys, really.
yeah, that's a whole
So you have to be a member of my congregation, or I have to know you.
yeah,
Sounds like cliques and division, and maybe a little racism in there.
a lot, a lot.
yeah.
Because that's what I was thinking. Like once it's distributed, if all the pastors come together, let's say they're like, okay, forget the denomination. We're all Christian. We're all going to
Thank
put
you.
money in a reserve, right? Even when it
How
goes,
about
it's like
here's an easy way to decide. How about who's ever in need? How about whoever's hungry? How about who's ever at a place right now where they don't know where their next meal is coming from?
Hmm.
How about that?
Okay.
If
Well,
you're really truly giving to give, you don't need to do a background check on them.
you know, I think there may be a few local churches that do that. So I just want to, just in defense of a couple of local churches. I know a few guys that actually go to churches that do help homeless, including Agape. They go down to, to the where the homeless are, and I forget what they call it here, Skid Row. And they help.
And Jeff, that's and you're right. A few.
Right. But
It should be every single one.
the ones we're talking about are those big mega churches that take
Yes.
billions of dollars in, and the
Yes.
pastors fly around in jets. Those those
Yes.
those are the ones we're
Well,
singling.
they can do more.
Yeah.
They can do more. But every church, I mean, it's supposed to be, they're supposed to have benevolent funds. They're supposed to be, that's part of the reason why they do what they do. I mean,
Well,
I don't know. Maybe it's just me,
and
well,
Jesus.
but they're, yeah, yeah. But it's like every week you're collecting money. And see, this is what's happened. We went from just being provisional to prosperity with the churches. It was never meant to be prosperity. It completely is a contrast to what the whole gospel is about to begin with. It's supposed to be about the good news, okay? It's not supposed to be about you getting good shoes or good
Yeah.
cars.
Okay, but they use the abundant line, right? Jesus said, I have come so that you may live life more abundantly. And so they use that
Hey, hey, hey,
to push it
hey.
into thinking like,
Abundance is subjective. If
right.
you've got no debt, if you've got inner peace, you are living an abundant life.
That is a fact that a lot of people don't know. Okay, so the definition that I use that comes from Bashar. He's another channeler. He says, abundance is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. That's it.
The end. The
That's
end.
it. And so
You can clear it in that.
if you can exist with abundance being at that level, then just you walk into the kitchen is abundant. And now you're building your
Thank
abundance
you.
on a daily basis, and
Look,
that's really the fact. What you said.
you being able to get up out of your bed, you being able to count memories, read, think, lift your arms, walk, run, jog, whatever.
Abundance.
That's abundance, my brother.
Amen.
We've confused abundance with materialism.
Amen.
It, that's why we're at a major slowdown right now.
That's
Slow
why we're
down and smell the
just slow down
coffee.
right now.
You
Slow
know,
down and smell the
It's
coffee.
the reset button.
There it is.
And so that's why the divorces are happening, and that's why the people are falling off from Jeff's,
Yep.
page or whatever,
And
because
guess what? And
everyone has
guess what?
to reassess everything.
That's a good thing.
That's a good
That's a
thing
good thing.
because everyone's
Because now
to
you can
reassess
start
everything.
off your life. This is an opportunity to start from ground zero. And maybe this is the thing that you need that people needed to purge themselves. Maybe this is the thing they needed to say, this career sucks. Maybe
Right,
this is the thing that people needed to say, this person that I'm with sucks.
right,
Maybe I suck, you
right,
know?
right. Because we can no
That's in
longer,
Jeff's case, that's appropriate in Jeff's case.
right. We can no
So
longer run from these facts.
yeah. So
Okay?
so
come on,
so
come on, man, come on.
that being said,
See,
I mean,
Javon,
I mean, there-
hey, Javon likes me. Javon thinks I'm a guy. Don't switch that. Come on.
my condolences, Jevon.
So anyway, I think it is messed up. I mean, what if the people come back from Wisconsin and say we all got sick because we all went out and voted, right? Then what
Hello,
say the next day?
Those people don't.
hello.
Those people don't care. The Republicans in charge don't give a fuck. If
Right.
they
No,
give a fuck, they would not have made those people vote.
Okay.
Case closed. And those Republicans, it is clear that it was definitely Republicans because that they overrode the executive order of the Democrat and they said no,
yeah,
have to go vote. So they don't give a fuck. I'm just saying
guys,
it
this is the world we live in.
care.
And it's
All
becoming more and more clear.
same
So
power.
then, so then the conversation hopefully will start to be had that, oh, why is it that it's a disproportionate at a disproportionate rate that African Americans have pre-existing condition?
Oh,
Oh,
should we go there?
is it
Should
that's
we
what
go
it
there,
seems like
mon
it's starting
frere?
to go there. It's starting to go there. It was like, is it the liquor stores and the fried chicken that we have in all the hoods
The
and
churches,
the Whole Foods that are an hour
chicken.
away and the Trader
Yeah, how about
Joe's?
that?
Okay,
How
so
about that?
hopefully that's where the conversation goes. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to see a lot more death until we get there. But I feel
Yeah.
like this is it's exposing that in our system.
Well,
Yeah.
let me throw this out there, guys. And I'm sorry I got so like cussing and like, but
No, don't be sorry for that.
Yeah, don't be sorry for a goddamn thing. It's your
here's the
show.
thing. Okay. It we are going to need a whole lot longer of this reset button is going to have to be held down a lot longer in order to expose this shit more enough to make it change.
Okay,
I
that's a
agree.
good point. That's a
If
good
it
point.
changes next week, forget it. We're back to the same
Right,
shit.
right.
This reset button is going to need to be held down and it's going to need to be uh oh, this has happened twice now in the last 3 days. All right. Okay. Come back. Come back. Okay. Hold on. 1 second. Part do. Part do. Do. Deuce. Dose. No. No. I'm not getting back. Am I getting back in? Oh, come on now. No, it's not letting me. It's not relaunching for some
Maybe we
reason.
need to leave the room.
No, I mean I'm just not. It's not showing up on my Facebook yet, so I can make sure it's going public. Um, No. Yeah. No. Well, it's still kind of running. What the heck? Oh, fellas. Try a different. My whole internet is just going bonkers right now.
Yeah. Somebody's trying to kill you, Jeff.
You think? They heard me get on my rant. Yeah, for some reason.